What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Today I'm going to go through 3 baseball players that recently signed through the mail autographs for me and profile each of their careers and tell you about their time in baseball. So the first return is a return from former 1960s, 70s pitcher Frank Linzy on 3 cards. I did actually send a 4th card to Mr. Linzy, but I think it was a duplicate of this one right here, and he decided to keep it for maybe his grandkids or his family, which is perfectly fine. So let me tell you about Frank Linzy and his career in baseball. Frank Linzy was born in Oklahoma and attended high school in Oklahoma. He was signed by the San Francisco Giants as an amateur free agent before the 1960 season. Once Frank signed with the Giants at 19 years old, he was sent to their Class D affiliate, where he appeared in just 5 games in that 1960 season, posting a 2-1 record. The following year in 61, he repeated in Class D ball, and he posted 13 wins and 6 losses in 32 games for the Giants' low-level affiliate minor league team. The next year in 1962, he moved up to the Class B League, which eventually moved him up to the Class A League, where he posted a 10-win, 10-loss record in 33 games. Well, he got moved up in 1963 to Double A, and things turned around for Frank. In 26 games, in 22 starts, Frank posted a 16-win, 6-loss record with a minuscule 1.55 ERA. Well, on August 14th, 1963, the 22-year-old Linzy found himself in the major leagues for the San Francisco Giants. The Giants placed him in the game, and he posted 2 innings pitched, and he gave up 8 hits and earned 3 in that first game. Not a good first outing for Mr. Linzy. Despite that, his record was 0-0 for the 1963 season, and he completed the season pitching for the Giants for 8 games in the major leagues. Well, in 1964, the Giants felt he was a little rushed, and they sent him back down to their AAA affiliate to get some more seasoning, which he did, and he appeared in 32 games and posted a 2.91 ERA and an 11-12 record. Well, the 1965 season rolled around, and Frank found himself on the big league club. Well, Frank necessarily wasn't a closer, he was a relief pitcher. And in his first full season, his rookie season per se, other than that 63 season where he appeared in 8 games, he appeared in 57 games, had a minuscule ERA of 1.43, had 81 innings pitched, and posted a 9-3 record. This is just a rookie season for him. He finished 3rd in the Rookie of the Year voting that year. This guy came out of nowhere, basically, that season, finished 3rd in the Rookie of the Year voting that year, and also landed on the 13th spot for the MVP of the league voting that year. So this was by far how Frank Linzy came into the league and was lights out. Well, the following year, the Giants struggled a little bit, but despite that, Linzy posted a great ERA of just 2.96 in 51 games. He would have a losing record of 7 wins and 11 losses, but still a great season. Well, the next season in 1967, he would have an ERA again that was minuscule. He pitched 95 innings, and his ERA was just 1.51, but despite that, his record was split at 7 wins and 7 losses. Well, by this point, Frank Linzy was the ultimate middle relief guy. He was that guy that would come in the 6th, 7th, 8th inning and just be lights out, basically. 1968 rolled around. Linzy's ERA would go above 2 at just 2.08, would appear in 57 games again, and also pitch in 95 innings, which is almost the exact amount of pitching that he did the previous season. 1969 rolled around, however, and he would appear in 58 games, and he would win 14 games and lose 9 strictly as a relief pitcher. So a 14-game winner as a relief pitcher. topping out with 116 innings pitched out of the bullpen for the Giants that season. Well, 1970 rolled around, and he was part of the Giants bullpen. However, he got out to a really, really rough start in that 1970 season. And because of the rough start that he showed in that 70 season, he was actually traded to the St. Louis Cardinals on May 19th, 1970. Well, a new location for him. He actually went to St. Louis, appeared in 47 games for the 1970 Cardinals that year, posting a 3.67 ERA with his time with the Cardinals in 1970. The following year in 71, the Cardinals definitely wanted him in their bullpen, and Frank responded, appearing in 50 games for the Cardinals that year and posting a 4-3 record and 2.12 ERA. Well, despite having the great seasons with the Cardinals decided right before the 1972 season they were going to trade him to the Milwaukee Brewers for a minor leaguer. Well, Frank took that in stride and became a part of the Milwaukee Brewers bullpen, appearing in 47 games, posting a 3.03 ERA and a 2-2 record. He would repeat the 1973 season with the Brewers. His record would dip to just 2-6, but he still had a decent ERA of 3.57. Well, after that 73 season, the Brewers decided to let him go, and he signed with the Philadelphia Phillies. In 22 games in the majors for the Phillies, he posted a 3-2 record and a 3.28 ERA. Despite having a decent season with the Phillies, they decided to let him go, and the 34-year-old signed with the San Diego Padres. The Padres, a relatively new team, actually decided to stick him in their AAA affiliate, and they didn't bring him up to the majors, which is very surprising because you would have thought with a seasoned relief pitcher with Frank's background, he would have had a spot on a new team. But despite that, posting a 3.05 ERA in 37 games for the Padres that year, they did not call him up to the majors. Well, in total, Frank Linzy pitched 11 years in the major leagues. He had a win-loss record of 62-57, and his career ERA is just 2.85. I mean, 2.85 ERA in today's game is just a completely different era. So Frank, after his retirement from baseball as a player, moved back to Oklahoma. I'm not really sure what he did in his retirement years after baseball. However, he still does live in the area of Oklahoma where he grew up, still to this day. So I want to thank Frank for signing his cards for me, and we'll move on to the next return. All right, so this next one is a return from California, and it is a return from former Minnesota Twin / Cincinnati Red / New York Met, Tom Hall, on 4 of 4, including his rookie card. I'm not really sure if these guys are still around or not, but I'm definitely going to look into those two to see if they signed through the mail or not. But very happy to add left-handed specialist Tom Hall to the collection. And let me tell you about Tom Hall and his time in baseball. Standing at just 6 foot tall and 150 pounds, Tom Hall was a left-handed pitcher that was nicknamed the Blade because of how skinny he was. Tom played his high school baseball in Riverside, California. He would be signed by the Minnesota Twins in the third round of the 1966 amateur draft. After he signed with the Twins in 1966, at just 18 years old, Tom went to the rookie ball affiliate of the Twins and pitched for them, finishing the year out in single A, posting a 7-4 record and an ERA of just 1.97 in 14 games between those two stops. The following year in 1967, Tom would be in their A-ball affiliate for the entire season, posting a 14-win, 5-loss record in 23 games with a 2.16 ERA. The next year at just 20, Tom would be moved up to Double-A and then eventually Triple-A, and he responded having an immaculate season in 1968, posting a 10-4 record in 18 games with a small 1.93 ERA. Well, because of that, on June 9th, 1968, the Twins decided to bring him up to the major leagues at just 20 years old. So here's 6 foot tall, 150 pound Tom the Blade Hall making his major league debut at just 20 years old. In his 2 innings pitched, he gave up 2 hits but struck out 2 in those 2 innings pitched. Tom would bounce back and forth in 1968 between AAA and the majors and AA. But then in 1969, he would be part of the Twins pitching staff at just 21 years old. Tom would appear in 31 games, starting 18 for the Twins that year, posting an 8-7 record with a 3.33 ERA. 1970, he would have a great season where he would win 11 games and just lose 6. In 52 games, 11 starts. So again, this is a guy that spent primarily most of his time in the bullpen, but despite that, posted an 11-6 record. Well, 1971 rolled around. His win-loss record dipped to just 4-7 in 48 appearances for the Twins. And after that 71 season, the Twins would trade him to the Cincinnati Reds for pitcher Wayne Granger. Well, he would immediately join the Cincinnati Reds, and they would put him in their bullpen. He would start about 7 games for the Reds that year, but his 1972 season was immaculate. He won 10 games and lost just 1, posting a 2.61 ERA in 47 appearances his first year in Cincinnati. Well, the Reds would eventually go on to play the Oakland A's in that World Series, and Tom would lose with the Cincinnati Reds in that 72 series. The next year, in 73, Tom would come back, appearing in more games for the Reds, 54 this time, and posting an 8-5 record. He would do the same in 1974. He would appear in 40 games, posting a 3-1 record. And when 1975 rolled around, the Reds were gearing up again for a World Series run. And just after 2 games with the Reds in 1975, they traded him to the New York Mets. Well, the bummer with this is Tom was part of the Big Red Machine in those years that fell just short from winning the World Series in those years. But the 1975 Reds wouldn't go win the World Series without Tom on their pitching staff. That year in 1975, he would post a 4-3 record in 36 games, 34 of them with the Mets. The following year in 1975, things were pretty decent for Tom, but just appearing in 5 games for the Mets in 1976, the Mets packaged him in a deal that sent him to the Kansas City Royals. He would finish out the year with the Kansas City Royals. Cumulatively, he would appear in 36 games, 31 of them with the Royals. And then in 1977, he would be back with the Royals in their bullpen. However, after getting through some pretty rough outings with the Royals decided to let him go just 6 games into that season. Well, Tom would go back to the team that originally signed him, the Minnesota Twins. However, in 1977, he would just finish out the year with 11 appearances for the Twins' AAA affiliate and then would not pitch after that. Overall, Tom would have a career record of 52 wins and 33 losses with 32 saves. After retiring from baseball, Tom would go back to California and work for an aeronautics manufacturing company. And then after that would be move on to the United States Postal Service, where he had worked for the Postal Service for 20 years until his retirement. Tom is living in California now, enjoying his Major League Baseball pension and his U.S. Postal pension, would be my guess. So Tom is a great signer through the mail, probably because he worked for the Postal Service. So I can't say that I've talked too much about guys that work for the Postal Service, but if you're a TTM collector, Tom will be the guy to write, and you might want to mention, hey, you're a postal carrier. That's cool. So we'll move on to the next and final return. So going on the theme of the Tom Hall card here, I'm very, very pleased to share with you a couple returns of some completed cards that I've previously shown on this channel, and it'll be linked down here at the bottom if you want to watch that episode. And I actually got a return back from the other half of the Coco Laboy cards, Mr. Floyd Wicker on 2 of 2 that were already signed by Jose Laboy. I actually had a third without Coco on it, so I got Floyd to sign that third one, and I also had a single of Floyd as well. So I'm very happy to show that I have these 1969 Expos Rookie Star cards, now both completed by Coco Laboy and Floyd Wicker. Just to mention, if you do want to write Coco, he does require a little bit of a fee, but it's very nominal. like $3 to $5. If you want Coco to sign, he'll definitely take care of you. So I might send a couple, a $5 bill to Coco and ask him to sign that and finish it off for me. But let me tell you about Floyd Wicker and his career in baseball. Floyd Wicker, a North Carolina native, signed with the St. Louis Cardinals at just the age of 17. He started his professional season with the Cardinals, but during his tenure with the Cardinals, he had to hang up his baseball cleats and join the United States military, missed 2 seasons due to his military service. Wicker, however, said that while he was in the military, he still was able to play baseball. He played 3 to 4 days a week playing baseball. However, the competition just wasn't at the level that it was at the minor league level. Well, after his time in the military, Wicker would return to the Cardinals, and in 1966 would have a full season in their Double-A affiliate, where he would appear in 129 games and post a .303 batting average for them that year. He would also swipe 18 stolen bases while playing a pretty solid outfield for them. The next year in 1967, Floyd would actually appear in a lot of games that year, and he would post a .255 batting average, and he would also hit 8 home runs playing the outfield for the Cardinals and their affiliates. 1968 would roll around, and again, he'd be in AAA, appeared in 109 games, posted a .269 average, hit 9 home runs, and stole 14 bases, and the Cardinals called him up during the 1968 season on June 23rd. He would have 1 at-bat against the Atlanta Braves and would not get a hit. He would spend the majority of that 68 season in AAA, and then after the end of that season, the Cardinals in the offseason would not protect him, and he would be selected by the Montreal Expos in the Rule 5 draft. Well, the Expos put him on their roster that year in 1969. He appeared in just 41 games for them and struggled mightily. And after those 41 games in the majors with the 69 Expos, the Expos decided to package him in a deal in 1969 and sent him to the Milwaukee Brewers. The following year, in 1970, Floyd would be part of the Brewers system. However, he would appear mostly in their AAA affiliate, but he posted a .329 batting average and cracked 14 home runs that year for them in 1970. With that, he got a call up to the majors for 15 games, but he did not post very good numbers and just batted .195 in his outing with Milwaukee in 1970. Well, in 1971, he did make the club with the Brewers. However, they decided on June 1st of 1971 to trade him to the San Francisco Giants for Bob Heisey. Well, with the Giants, he would appear in just 9 games that year for the Giants, posting a .143 batting average. After that 1971 season, I don't have any further stats on Mr. Wicker. It appears that he was let go by the Giants after that, and he would post just a career lifetime batting average of .159. So, not necessarily the most illustrious career for Mr. Wicker. However, he did play in the major leagues. He had some struggles, once he got to the major leagues, but was a very, very good ball player in the minor leagues. And I'm very happy to be able to add him to the collection, completing that 69 tops. Also very happy that Mr. Hall signed his 69 tops. I'm going to look into those other 2 guys because I don't know much about them. I'm also happy to get these nice cards of Mr. Hall as a Twin and even a Met signed as well down here in the corner. And finally, I want to thank the fireballer Frank Linzy, who was one of the Giants' best pitchers of the 1960s, for signing my cards, as I've never gotten any of these guys before. I might send Coco Laboy this card and ask him to finish it off for me, so I have 3 completed ones. I hope you really enjoyed this episode and learned a little bit about some guys that maybe you didn't know about from the 1960s and 70s. Look forward to your comments below, and as always, happy collecting.